Welcome to Sparks by John Michael, brought to you by the Mad Engine. I'm Beth and I'm your host for this special Spark series. John Michael has a confession. He's written a unique science fiction novel that's secretly about your brain. The Insiders follows the crew of a spaceship called the Alex, but every character represents the actual voices and processes happening inside your mind right now. This special launch series unpacks the neuroscience, the spiritual formation, and the storytelling craft behind the novel. Whether you're curious about how your brain actually works, interested in faith science integration, or simply love stories that make you think, this series is for you. So welcome aboard the Alex. Your mental spaceship awaits exploration. Your mind is a spaceship, and your thoughts are the crew. As leaders and professionals, we make hundreds of decisions daily. But have you ever wondered what's actually happening in your brain during these decision-making moments? The answer might surprise you and transform how you approach leadership challenges. What if I told you that every internal struggle you've ever experienced was actually a crew meeting aboard the starship of your mind? That voice telling you you're not good enough. That's a crew member. The one urging you to take risks. Another crew member. The constant chatter about what others think of you. Yep, crew member. And they're all having heated debates about who gets to make the decisions. This isn't just a creative metaphor. It's the foundation of my debut novel, The Insiders, where a disgraced beta wave messenger named Bran must navigate the politics, betrayals, and battles aboard the Alex, a bioengineered spaceship exploring the mysteries of life. But here's what makes this story different from every other space opera you've read. The Alex represents the human brain, and every crew member embodies the actual functions, processes, and neurochemicals happening inside your head right now. The ancient truth modern science confirms. 2,000 years ago, the Apostle Paul wrote something remarkable in Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will, NIV. Paul was describing what neuroscientists now call neuroplasticity, the brain's extraordinary ability to rewire itself, form new connections, and literally transform its structure based on our thoughts, choices, and experiences. When Paul wrote about renewing your mind, he was giving us the world's first instruction manual for deliberate brain change. The science is staggering. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each capable of forming thousands of connections with other neurons. Every thought you think, every choice you make, every habit you form is literally carving pathways through this neural landscape. The thoughts you repeat become superhighways. The ones you abandon become overgrown tracks. But here's where it gets fascinating. You have conscious control over this process. You can choose which pathways to strengthen and which to let fade. You can literally rewire your brain through deliberate practice, mindful attention, and, as Paul knew, spiritual transformation. Meet your mental crew. In The Insiders, this process comes alive through characters you'll recognize immediately, even if you've never thought of them as separate entities before. Bran, the disgraced beta wave messenger, represents your everyday conscious thinking. The mental chatter that processes daily decisions, worries about outcomes, and often gets overwhelmed by responsibility. His exile to the basement mirrors those times when anxiety or depression makes us feel disconnected from our own mental resources. Tiger, the brilliant gamma wave messenger with tiger-striped hair, embodies those breakthrough moments of insight and clarity that can change everything in an instant. She's the voice that suddenly sees solutions, makes connections, and brings divine wisdom into impossible situations. Captain Higgs represents your prefrontal cortex, the executive decision-making center that's supposed to be in charge but often feels overwhelmed by the competing demands of different mental processes. Her struggle to maintain authority whilst managing a fractious crew mirrors our daily battle to stay in conscious control of our thoughts and reactions. But the Alex isn't just populated by helpful crew members. Miss Cripps, the stern third officer controller, embodies cortisol, your stress response system that can either protect you from real threats or overwhelm you with anxiety about imaginary ones. Cropper represents toxic stress that has turned destructive rather than protective. The battle for your mental bridge. Throughout The Insiders, these crew members face external threats that mirror the real challenges to your mental well-being. Ancient enemies want to seize control of the Alex, just as negative thought patterns, toxic relationships, and destructive habits seek to hijack your mental processes. The nanobots that infiltrate the Alex's systems represent those insidious thoughts that seem to multiply and spread, anxiety spirals, shame cycles, and fear-based thinking that can take over entire mental networks if left unchecked. But here's the hope woven throughout the story. Transformation is always possible. New alliances can form. Old enemies can become allies. Exiled crew members can find redemption. And the ship's true purpose can be restored. This isn't just science fiction. It's science fact wrapped in an adventure story that makes complex neuroscience concepts accessible and engaging. Why your brain needs this story. Jesus taught through parables because stories change us in ways that facts never could. When you read about Bran's struggle with shame and exile, your mirror neurons fire as if you're experiencing his journey yourself. When Tiger offers wisdom through crisis, your brain processes her insights as if they were your own thoughts. Neuroscientists call this narrative transportation, the phenomenon where engaging stories literally transport us into the characters' experiences, allowing us to learn and grow through their journeys. It's why Jesus chose parables over lectures, why stories stick when sermons fade, why fiction can transform us more powerfully than any self-help manual. The Insiders harnesses this power deliberately. Every character struggle represents real psychological challenges. Every victory models actual transformation strategies. Every relationship dynamic teaches principles about mental health, spiritual formation, and personal growth. The professional application. As you read about Bran's journey from exile to leadership, you're not just following a fictional character's arc, you're exploring your own potential for transformation. When you witness the crew learning to work together despite their differences, you're discovering how different aspects of your own mind can collaborate rather than compete. Understanding your mental crew members isn't just fascinating neuroscience, it's practical leadership development. When you recognize which voices are speaking in high-pressure situations, you can make more intentional choices about which ones to trust. The story reveals that the most important battles aren't fought in outer space but in inner space, the universe between your ears where thoughts become things, where choices shape character, and where the voice you choose to trust determines the trajectory of your entire career and life. These concepts come alive in The Insiders, the only sci-fi story that makes neuroscience accessible through biblical wisdom, layered and formational like Jesus' parables to help you navigate the complexities of choice, change, and personal growth. The Alex awaits. Your crew is ready. The only question remaining is, when the voices in your head start taking sides, which one will you trust? Pre-order The Insiders now with early bird discount. books2read.com/The Insiders. What's one insight from this article you'll apply in your professional life this week?